let's bring in a special event if we have the opportunity to, and let's showcase that we're a city of progress.
Updates on RAGBRAI's new logo theme have been revealed.
And find out what an ASL professor had to say about the film, A Quiet Place.
And we'll recap Iowa baseball's game against Northern Illinois last night.
And we have episode 2 for you of Beyond the Swarm.
Clouds, rain, and sunshine. Find out more in weather.
All that and more coming up.
Don't go anywhere. DITV starts right now.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Lauren Varell.
And I'm Sydney Zatz. People have until midnight tonight to file and pay their taxes. This comes after the IRS faced technical issues on the busiest tax day of the year. Acting IRS Commissioner David Cotter responded to the difficulties by saying, quote, "The IRS appreciates everyone's patience during this period. The extra time will help taxpayers affected by the situation," end quote.
Passengers on board a Southwest Airlines witnessed a frightening scene. They were startled after hearing a loud boom during their flight from New York to Dallas. The sound turned out to be a window cracking open and the passenger sitting next to it was sucked out. Passengers frantically tried to pull her back in the plane as she was hanging out of the window. She was eventually pulled back into her seat but later died of injuries. Southwest Airlines expressed condolences to the woman's family and are cooperating with investigations.
Former First Lady Barbara Bush has died at the age of 92. As First Lady, she formed the Barbara Bush Foundation for Family Literacy. This organization helps to fight illiteracy as she believed tackling this topic would solve social issues. Since her time at the White House, she and her husband have raised over $1 billion for the foundation. Additionally, she is known as being the only person to see her husband and son be elected to be president. Her funeral will be held at a church in Houston on Sunday.
We begin with updates coming from Iowa City's RAGBRAI. A press conference on Tuesday revealed the theme, entertainment venue, and most importantly, the logo for the July 27th overnight stop. Along with the logo theme, Book It to Iowa City represents the city's UNESCO City of Literature status. The annual event is a cycling event where riders bike across Iowa. It has been 42 years since Iowa City has last been a RAGBRAI overnight stop.
Last night, Zach Walls visited Iowa's campus to talk about being an ally and advocate for the LGBTQ community. Reporter Susanna Kloster has more of the story for us.
Zach Walls is currently the Democratic candidate for the Iowa Senate race. At first glance, he looks like any other Iowan, an Eagle Scout and an alum of the University of Iowa. But what you might not know about him is that he grew up with 2 moms, not that common for an Iowa native.
There's no rainbow flag watermark on their marriage license. It's just a plain old-fashioned marriage license.
He spoke with Reaching Out in Business, the only professional development club in the Tippy School of Business for LGBTQ and ally students.
The importance of allies in the community with LGBTQ individuals. It's not just for the people who identify as LGBTQ. It's really a teamwork of effort that people really need to work together in order to push forward in this social movement of really creating more of an embracing environment.
And Zach does just that. In 2011, a video of him went viral when he spoke in front of the Iowa House Judiciary Committee to testify that growing up with 2 moms was no different than anyone else's family. This is what propelled him into his political career.
And then I feel very honored to have had the opportunity to get to share my story from a stage in front of so many people in my alma mater. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here and very, very excited.
From Shamba Auditorium, I'm Susanna Kloster, DI TV News.
Sydney, that is truly an amazing story. And you know what else is amazing? I saw the sun for the first time yesterday. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I was driving with my windows open, but this morning on my way to work, it was raining, so I couldn't really do that. I heard we might get some snow. I don't know. Let's toss over to Sam in the weather studio to see what is going on in the middle of April. Sam?
Thanks, guys. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it doesn't look like the weather's going to get any better. In Iowa City, we aren't any strangers to those strong winds, as they will be coming back today at 20 to 25 miles per hour. There is a 70% chance of rain with the high reaching 40, and then as the evening approaches our coldest night this week, we will be at a low of 30 degrees. Moving on to the rest of the week, those clouds will persist. Thursday will be partly cloudy with temperatures near the 30 and reaching a low of 31 in the evening. Then Friday, no surprise, we will be back with those clouds and a high of 55 and a low in the mid-30s. Entering into the weekend, Saturday will have some morning showers and a 30% chance of rain. The rest of the day with a high of 55 degrees and a low around those chilly 30s. Then to round off the weekend, Sunday morning we will have some cloudy skies, a high of 61 and a low of the upper 30s. To spring into next week, Monday will give us our first sunny day with warm temperatures around the mid-60s and a low of 40 degrees. So let's hope those temperatures next week are a possible sign of spring in our future. Have a great day, and back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Sam. The new movie A Quiet Place has taken Hollywood by surprise. DATV reporter Jacob Gunther is in the studio with more on how this film is resonating with the deaf community.
Thanks, Sydney. I sat down with Rebecca Clark to talk about the film and its relation to the deaf community, and one element from her point of view made a significant impact.
Thrilled that they hired a deaf actress. Millicent Simmons plays a deaf character, but she's also deaf, so that is wonderful, and I think it's great to have accurate representations on film.
Now, this film is not perfect, especially when it comes to minority relations, and she did have one thing to say about this topic.
As you're watching the film, everything has captions and you're going along, so it's assuming that the audience does not know how to sign, right? And you keep watching, and then once you get to a part where they do actually vocalize, they speak English, at that part they don't have captions, which I think also says a little bit about the maybe target audience, so it might not have been targeted, the target audience was not the deaf community, possibly.
The film does, however, make much needed steps towards the right direction, and for someone who has submerged herself in the deaf culture, she is very happy about the outcome.
This film has done a lot of positive things, as well as I can point out a few things that, I kind of wish, they could have taken it a little bit further. We could have just expanded that a little bit more, But in general, I'm happy that this film aired. There's a good mix of both things that I think this film did wonderfully, and maybe some ways that they could have improved.
If you have not seen A Quiet Place, check it out in theaters everywhere. Guys, back to you.
NASA scientist Dr. Ellen Stoffen gave a lecture in Iowa City talking about climate change. The lecture took place at the Englert Theater Tuesday night in front of a large crowd. Dr. Stoffen began her lecture talking about how space exploration is crucial for innovation. She has also talked about how studying nearby planets is important to combat climate change on Earth. Check out the full story in today's edition of the Daily Iowan newspaper. Sydney, I hope the weather warms up for football this Friday. Beyond the Swarm has another episode.
That's right. I always like seeing, what Iowa football players are thinking. They're after college goals, are they going to go back into football or what they're thinking? So let's toss over to Natalie and Nicole in the sports studio, and we can get to that next episode. Guys?
Thanks, guys. But the Iowa baseball team was back in Duane Banks last night to face Northern Illinois in a midweek matchup.
The Hawks held the Huskies to no hits through 7 innings behind Fort Hawkeye pitchers Jack Dreyer earning a win with this one, as Iowa defeated the Huskies 2-0 behind a strong night from the bullpen.
Came in today.
The team will head to Minneapolis this weekend for a Big Ten road
put
series.
themselves in tough situations. Okay. Picked them up, so it was a all-around good day for the pitching staff.
Anything could happen in this game, and it was a tight game the whole way, so I was just happy our pitchers pulled it out.
Really, it was kind of a lifeless game, if you just want to come right out and say it. I mean, we did just enough to get a couple runs in the first 5 innings. We had some decent at-bats, and then they kind of went away. A little sloppy with the 2 errors late, and held on to get the win, but that's about it from me on that.
We apologize for technical difficulties, but the team will head to Minneapolis this weekend for a Big Ten road series against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And as per usual for Iowa baseball, they're expecting bad weather.
Yesterday, we premiered episode 1 of Beyond the Swarm, a series of former Hawkeye football players as they approach the NFL draft.
Today, Beyond the Swarm looks at a key piece in the offense who almost was never even a Hawkeye at all. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, Bo coming at you at the Iowa football facility in Iowa City for DITV. I'm sitting down with James Butler, former running back for the Iowa Hawkeyes. How does it feel to be a former Iowa Hawkeye?
It feels good, it's a dream come true. I always wanted to be a Hawk, and it was a goal I made when I was, in high school, and I'm happy to accomplish that.
So going back to your recruiting process, you were originally recruited by Coach Erb at Iowa, and then after that 2013 season that was a little rough, Erb left for Nevada, and then you went to Nevada too. Was that because of Coach Erb, or what were some of the factors?
Exactly. That had a lot to do with why I went to Nevada, because I'd never heard of it. I'd never been that far away from home, and I had such a great relationship with him since all through high school. I went to his camps, and he was the running backs coach here, so we had a great relationship. So it wasn't that hard of a transition to go out there with him, because I know I trusted him.
And then the transfer, Iowa couldn't have been the only school wanting you. Were there any others?
It was between Iowa, Indiana, and Louisville.
And then, so why Iowa?
I just, I live 3 hours away. I always know I want to be back in the Midwest, because it was so hard for my mom to come to games out in Nevada, or they were to be televised out here. So it was always hard for her to watch my games.
Was it hard transitioning from a role where in Nevada you were the featured back to kind of more of a supporting cast member here at Iowa?
Well, a lot of people don't, realize is I was actually in the same position my sophomore year, which in my opinion was my best year of college football, when I was, the second guy, the 1A, 1B type of relationship with me and another running back out of Nevada, Don Jackson. So, I was used to being a role guy, then, stepping into the feature. That was nice too, and I liked that. But I just, I wasn't really, coming here to, to be the starter. They had, Akram, who had, great years before. So, but I knew that they had just had 2 guys run for 1,000 yards a year before, so they like to spread the ball out. So I just felt like it was a great opportunity.
Last question I have for you. Life after football. I know it seems like a long ways away, but do you have any plans for?
I really want to become a broadcaster. That's like my, that's like my, something that nobody knows. That's why I like to. I was communications major. I should have done journalism, but I just stuck with communications. But yeah, I also really want to be like a sports broadcaster or a journalist type. That's why I got these braces on, to get my teeth right, so I can be camera ready. Or I'm thinking of a firefighter, because I heard the closest thing you get to a locker room is being a firefighter. So one of those two. So we'll see. That's kind of like different sides of the spectrum, but
definitely. We'll always have a job for you at DITV.
Appreciate it.
That's all we have for you.
You can check out the full interview with Bo and James on the Daily Iowans YouTube page. And that's all we have for you in the sports studio today.
Tune in tomorrow for another segment of Beyond the Swarm.
Guys, at the desk, back to you.
Thanks, guys. Advocates for the Iowa Medical Marijuana Program are calling for an expansion. More dispensaries are opening around the state and would help keep the program financially stable.
They are also advocating for the drug to be eligible for PTSD and opioid-addicted patients. Governor Reynolds, however, will not expand the program until further study conducted on medical marijuana. Scientists have made an accidental discovery that could dispose plastic faster. Researchers from the University of Britain and the U.S. Department of Energy found an enzyme that can be used to break it down.
It happened while they were examining plastic materials at a recycling waste center in Japan. The enzyme can eat through common materials used to produce plastic bottles.
For DITV, I'm Lauren Varell.
And I'm Sydney Zatz. Have a great day, Iowa City.